I hereby declare that never in my entire life have I read any book on small talks or tried to learn in any shape or form how to get better at small talks, which means everything that I'm about to share today is based on my personal experiences and observations. This video is more like an advanced part 2 of the one that I've already made, so you might want to consider taking that out. I'm not going to give you any tips or tricks on how to get better at small talks. What I'm going to offer you, however, is in fact a more conceptual, intuitive, natural way of approaching small talks. I really believe that you really don't need any tricks when it comes to small talks, because small talks are about, humans. We are humans and we are connecting with other humans. So why would we need anything that's anything but natural? I've seen animals and birds having small talks, and I'm sure you have too, and they don't even talk. So I'm pretty sure humans can nail it. Now, the approaches that I'm going to give you are applicable for almost all situations. So I will be keeping it simple and taking the example of a workplace or college, but please mold my examples to fit your situations. First of all, I want you to change fundamentally what you think of small talks. If you think of small talks as something you do to just pass time or just to avoid awkward silences, I want you to change your thought process behind it and think of small talks as something that is fun. A small talk is where you are trying to know and understand a whole different person in a short amount of time, like a minute or two. The goal behind any small talk should always be that I want to get to know this person, regardless of your other intentions, like you're trying to network and you're trying to grow as a person and blah blah blah. But the goal should always be, I want to get to know this person in the short amount of time that I have. Now, getting to know a person has several levels, and you don't directly go to, okay, so what do you think is the purpose of life, or what are your goals and dreams? But let's say, for example, that you're having a small talk with someone at your workplace. It will help you to know firsthand what their position in your organization is. This is to ensure that whatever you talk about is within the boundary of your relationship with that person. You cannot really talk to someone who's superior to you the same way that you would talk to a friend. In order to avoid awkward situations later, I would suggest that you understand what kind of setting you are in and phrase your questions, the first few questions, in a way that will save you a lot of awkwardness or embarrassment later on. Okay, so once we have the important things figured out, some of my favorite questions on the workplace settings are, do you like what you're working on? What do you like about it? And what is something that you find boring? Did you always wanted to do what you're doing right now? You see, these questions seem simple and fun, and yet they give you this quick little window into the life of that person. Of course, that is not the template of the questions that I'm giving you. That is just me trying to tell you what kind of questions are interesting and fun, and at the same time will help you get to know the other person much better. Now, those questions and the general sense of direction that I was heading in was ideal for a workplace environment. Now, if I'm out on a date with someone, I would want to head in a direction that would yield the answer to some of the questions related to their core values, and especially their family values, because that's what's important to me. So based on what's important to you, you would want to ask questions that will lead you in that particular direction. None of you are the lead characters in this conversation. What I mean to say is, you don't have to try and impress the person by agreeing with everything they say. Neither do you have to try and have them agree with everything you say. None of you are main characters, you see. The conversation is the actual plot, and that's what's most important. Be very open and inviting in a conversation. If you find something is coming from the other person which is not something you quite agree with, you don't have to be all defensive and defend your idea of whatever the opinion that you have. It's okay if they don't agree with your political opinion, or they don't like your favorite TV show, or they don't like your favorite book. Same way, it's okay if you don't agree with some of the opinions that they have, and you do have entirely different set of interests. You two might have entire different value systems and might still be able to hit it off. Third, maybe a little bit offbeat and scary, but very intuitive. Don't be afraid to show your humane side. Most of the time, you will have small talks because you're meeting new group of people. It might be because you are going to a new college, or it might be that you have changed to a different team in your workspace. In these situations, something that's a little bit scary but very natural and intuitive to me is showing that I'm nervous or excited or happy about it. Let's say if I am changing to a new team, I would have a conversation with my new team members and share what are the things that I'm nervous about or what are the things that I have some doubts around. Now, I would advise that you only share something that you're comfortable with, something that you might not have any problem confessing in front of 50 people. I remember meeting this one woman in restroom area at my organization, and I asked how she was because she looked upset. And she ended up confessing that she had been overworked since last 1 week. She hadn't been eating well and that it was taking a toll on her. She was very, very burnt out. And she expressed how grateful she was to me for asking how she was. Now, there are two things I want you to observe and understand. One, if you're hesitating to ask someone how they are or anything similar in anything similar situations, you're really overthinking it. Because, well, you are human and they are human. You already have a connection. You don't have to think it through. And what's the worst that's going to happen? They'll say, yeah, I'm fine. Or they just won't respond. What worse can happen? And second, the fact that she was able to share those things with me because I approached her in a moment that might have been weak for her. And her sharing all the things with me was she being courageous to share her vulnerability with me. And I was able to connect with that because, well, I have had that kind of moment in my life. And I know what it feels like to work till 4 in the morning. And I don't know her name and I don't remember her face. But I would forever remember that encounter. And I would remember the connection that I shared with her. And I think it will be same for her as well. So small talks are much more than small talks. That was all. I think I got a little bit emotional, but I think that's okay. I really hope I was able to convey everything that I wanted to convey, and I hope that you will find something useful in here. If that's the case, I would love it if you could like this video. And I'll see you in the comment section. Bye!